Hey family, so today I attended a conference called Fight Like a Girl. Oh, let me turn around. Fight like a girl, because this world is rough, right? God tried his best to, protect us from this world, but we, our ancestors, okay, allowed the enemy to trick them out of God's protection, okay? And because we was tricked out of God's protection, we got to be out here in this mess, okay? Because that's what it is. It's mess. And the devil is messy, okay? And he wants us to be destroyed in his mess because you know, he don't want to go by himself, okay? He's jealous of us that God allows us to have second chances. Because God give us more than second chances. So that's why I put an S on it. Second chances, third chances, fourth chances. God just keep allowing us to fix our mistakes and have a chance to be with him. And he don't get that. He don't get that chance of forgiveness because he knew better. He knew better and chose to do wrong. See, we we don't all the time know better, okay? So that's why God, he give us a chance. He know that we're being tricked. Every day we wake up and we go out here in this world, he know the devil is trying to trick us. So he give us chances to be forgive, right? So today I attended the conference, okay? And I got to meet Leandra, I hope I'm saying her name right, Leandria Johnson, and so many other powerful and successful black women. Okay? Successful black women. It was good to see black women in power because, society don't show you that too often. So to see so many women with my color skin being successful, being boss ladies, okay? But not only being boss ladies, but strong enough to share their weak moments. Whew, I'm sorry. Today has been a very emotional day for me. I've been crying all day. They did my makeup there, so I've been trying not to mess it up. But I've been crying all day, you guys. I'm a very emotional person. It's probably like the years of bent up, suppressed emotions that I'm just like a waterhead, okay? So they all was getting up one by one, sharing their story, sharing their truth about how the enemy tried to destroy them, how he tried to destroy their family, how he tried to kill them. But but God saved every one of them so they could have a story to tell somebody in that audience that might be going through the same thing. I know sometimes telling your story can be scary because we all fear of being judged. Yeah, because people that haven't been what you've been through, they automatically blame you. It's your fault. It might be a little of our fault. Yeah, we might have made the wrong choice and choosing to trust a person we shouldn't have trust. Maybe yeah, but it ain't all our fault. We might have chose to choose the wrong person, but that person hurt us. And just because we chose wrong doesn't mean we deserve to be hurt. That is our fault that we needed to be hurt. And there's so many people that need to hear that because the world be so quick to tell you it's your fault. This is a little bit off subject, but I was watching the Mike Tyson show on Hulu. It's really good. Um, and it was the young girl Desiree. How the world wanted her to be the bad guy because he did that to her. Talking about it's her fault. She should have known, right? She shouldn't have went off with him at that time of day. But why is hanging out with somebody? It's a famous person. Who ain't gonna want to hang out with a famous person? Let me just sit that there. They go blame her and say it's her fault, but who don't want to hang out with a famous person? How many people gonna say no to hanging out with a famous person? They say, "Hey, I'm about to come pick you up. Let's hang out." Who gonna say no? I don't think it's that many people in the world that's gonna say no. But yet it's her fault that he used his power to hurt her. And the world, the world is so quick to do that to so many people that's hurting. The world, and nobody should feel like it's their fault because somebody else used their power to hurt them. But, even though the enemy tried to destroy them, God stepped in and he gave each and every one of those women their life back. He gave them their life back and he gave it to them so they can live more abundantly. That's who God is. He wants you to live a long life. He don't want to hurt you. He wants you to live a long, healthy life. And you can see that through all his prophets. The one that followed him, Abraham, 200 and something years old. His sons and them, 100 and something years old. They was living long lives and they lived good lives. They didn't just live long lives. They lived good too. Abraham had money. He was not broke, okay? Kings, they giving him stuff. He had cattle for days, okay? He had money. Like, he had some power. When he died, everybody was there, okay? People high up came to show their respects because God, he makes sure his people are respected, okay? And, God just gave me a revelation today why I'm here in Texas because, he just kept telling me to come to Texas. And I'm like, why Texas? I was for it because I'm always for a trip. I love to travel, so I was for it. But I was just like, why Texas? I was learning a little bit about my history, like the people I come from. And I realized every state that I lived in, I've had people from there. My roots was from there. So God had took me on a trip to learn who I was. And now Texas is healing. He brought me to Texas to heal. Ooh, and I tell you, it's hard, okay? Because some days I'm like, okay, God, I see why you brought me to Texas. Okay, it's popping here. And then just last week, I was like, God, do you hate me? Like, why are you doing this to me? Do you hate me? But that's what healing feels like. There's some good days in healing, and then there's some days it feel like the people that's trying to help you hate you. Like, why are you taking me through this? Why is this happening to me? But that's what healing is. It's ugly. Healing is ugly and it hurts. And a lot of days you want to sleep. I don't know if that's y'all or if it's just me. I've been sleeping a lot lately. And I know that's my thing I go through when I'm sad. I sleep. Sleep, sleep, sleep. And I don't know. I be feeling so drained, so tired. Just like, I've been fighting a long time. When is this fight gonna be over? When am I gonna be happy? When am I gonna win? When you've been fighting for a long time, you start trying to figure out when you go win. You see all these other people winning and you trying to stay positive and hopeful that one day you too will win. But it's like, when? Yeah, I watch a lot of movies, and that just made me think of. I do. I watch a lot of movies, but that made me think of the Devil Real. Sorry, I can't talk. The Devil Will Prada. At the end, where the guy he was supposed to be promoted, and she promoted somebody else in order to save her spot, basically. So she gave his spot to somebody else so that she can secure her chair a little longer. And he basically was like, she is going to pay me back for that. And the girl, Anne Hathaway, was like, are you sure? And he was like, I gotta be hopeful. That's what it feels like sometimes on this journey walking with God. And, you're trying to do everything right. And you see all these people passing you up, making it in their life. And you like, I'm trying to be hopeful that that'll be me too. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm trying to stay hopeful. And I realized today that I'm in Texas to heal, and it's been a roller coaster. It's been a lot of tears. Like, but this is what I need, because you can't go to the next level without healing. You won't be able you won't be able to accept God's gifts that he wants to give you if you don't heal first. You see it with these football players and these rappers and a lot of these famous people. They get famous but they're not healed. And because they're not healed, because they don't know who they are, because they don't love themselves, they begin to change. They begin to do things that they know is not right in order to obtain fame, in order to stay in the spotlight. And the thing about God is, before he give you all of that, he gonna make sure you healed, so you don't mess it up. See, God, he loves you enough to hold on to your gift so you don't mess it up. Kind of like the son that asked his dad for all his money, and he went out and spent it all on people that didn't care about him, and then ended up broke and having to go back home to his daddy. But little did he know that his dad didn't give him all of his his inheritance. He saved some, he put some to the side, because he knew his son wasn't ready. He knew he couldn't handle all of that, and he knew he was going to blow it. And because he loved him, he saved some for him. See, God loves us so much. He's saving our blessings for us so that we don't mess them up. So when we get out here and we in our healing process and we going through it, we'll have some inheritance left. And I'm all off subject, y'all, cause but I just had to get that off my chest, because that was it was in there. And I just had to get that off my chest. But last week we were talking about protection. We was talking about how God protected Abraham and not Haran. And it's as simple as making a choice. Abraham chose to follow God despite what he didn't see, because he had never seen God do one miracle at all. That him being saved from the fire was the first time Abraham had ever seen a miracle. But he still chose to follow him before he saw that miracle. Sometimes, in order to see a miracle, that means somebody got to go through pain. But none of us want to go through pain, right? So it's hard to see a miracle when nobody want to go through pain. But that's when the miracles come, right? Through pain and hardship. See, Abraham had to experience going through the fire in order to see his first miracle, in order to really see that God is real. But before he even saw that God was real, he chose to believe that he was real. But Haran, he didn't do that. He was waiting. And if God wouldn't have saved Abraham, he was going to continue to follow the devil. I know it says he followed the king, but the king was following the devil. So he basically was following the devil. He was waiting on to see who was more powerful in order to choose who he was going to follow. He was going to follow the more powerful God. But he didn't even get that chance to see who was more powerful, because he died instantly. And he probably would have been saved if he would have made a choice. But we already went over that, right? Now we're going over how to obtain God's protection. What is it that God needs from us in order to receive his protection? Because whether you want to, I guess, agree with it or not, a healthy relationship is give and take. Those relationships that be lasting 40, 50 years is give and take. Because if it's just one person, giving, 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 and the other person just taking, taking, taking. Those relationships that last like a year or less, or even if they do make it to 10 years, after a while, that one person that's always giving, they go get tired and they go want something different. So a healthy relationship with God is give and take. So if you want protection from God, you also got to give him something. And what is that something that God wants? Okay, so sin was introduced into the world through the fallen, okay? They knew right from wrong, but they chose to still do wrong. And they chose to come down here and to defile themselves, okay, with humans making giants, okay? And that's why we had the flood water, because that was the only thing that was going to kill those giants was a flood, the whole earth being flooded, okay? But because sin was introduced through the fallen, we as God's children, we now need daily protection, okay? And in order to obtain these, daily protection, God gave us two covenants, okay? We have the Abraham covenant, okay, which is the blood covenant, okay? And then we have the Moses covenant, which is the laws, okay? Basically how you should live your life, okay? So the covenant that God gave Moses is how we should live our life. And the covenant that God gave Abraham is basically how you receive the blessing, because the blessing is in the blood, okay? So we're going to go over those two covenants so you can know how to be protected, but at the same time, be blessed, okay? So we're going to start with Abraham's covenant, okay? So Abraham's covenant is in Genesis chapter 22. Abraham is told, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand on the seashore. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. Okay. So the promise that God had made to Abraham was one that his offspring will always be fruitful, okay? They're going to be, the majority, okay? They could go always be the majority, okay? He also promised him possessions, ownership, land, okay? When you have ownership, when you have land, that means you're going to be living abundantly. You're going to have some money, okay? So he promised them abundance. That's the second promise. And the third promise is that he was going to send people through his offspring, okay? Chosen ones through his offspring that's going to save the world, okay? So he's basically telling him now, I'm going to send kings through you that I will use to save the people, to give them the truth, to lead them, to help lead them back to me, okay? Those were the three promises God made Abraham. And in order for this to work, in order to have this blessing, the sons had to be circumcised, because he said the blessing was in the blood. So if you're not being circumcised, okay, then you're not receiving the blessing. You're actually cursing your son by not, you know, following the covenant, because that's part of the covenant, circumcision. So that was Abraham's covenant. It's real short, sweet, straight to the point. You want to receive the blessing, you have to, this is what you have to do. All the covenants are conditional. If you want this is what you have to do. It's just with success. We don't, we all got something bad to say about God's conditions, right? God say, if you want blessings, if you want to live a long life, if you want to come to heaven, these are the conditions. We have a problem with God's conditions. But when the world say, if you want to be famous, if you want to be a superstar, if you want to be a multi-millionaire, these are the conditions. This is what you have to do. You got to wake up at 5 o'clock every morning. You need to, they say you should exercise. Most of them are vegans. They take care of their bodies, okay? You have to challenge yourself, constantly learning, reading. Most millionaires read a book, one whole book in a week, I tell y'all, it about take me a month to read one book. But I guess they have time. They have time to read one book a week. You know, I'm still in the process. I'm working and stuff, so it take me about a month or 2 or 3 to read one. But hey, I'm trying. Those are the conditions, though. Nobody gets successful without doing the conditions. And so God is telling us these are the conditions in order to be successful through his eyes, because having success through God's eyes is way better than any worldly success. So we got to stop, because really, if you really just sit down and look at God's conditions, he's not asking for anything that's hard. He's not asking for us to do anything that's, you know, like I said, that's hard. As they say, it's not that you asking too much, because he's not really asking a lot out of us. If you really just sit down and look at the covenants that he made with Abraham and Moses, he's not asking for us to do a lot. No, not really. It's really easy and simple. We just make everything harder than it has to be. We do. I look out into the world every day and be like, why do we make stuff harder than it have to be? It's such an easier way to do stuff. It's always an easier way to do stuff, but we make stuff so complicated. We make love complicated. It don't even have to be that hard. Either you love me or you don't. That's basically what God says. Either you love him or you don't. Because what he asking is not hard, it's not complicated, and he's not asking for too much. But when you ask the wrong person, it seems like you asking a lot. Yeah. Because, I've been in a lot of relationships. People always tell me how beautiful I am. But then you know, I look and I'm like, all these people telling me I'm beautiful, but nobody wants to love me. And I don't feel like I ask a lot, because I don't really even ask for anything hardly. I ask for help every now and then. That's not, nothing hard. Shouldn't you be able to depend on your spouse or whatever when you just having a hard moment? But it seems like, you know, I guess when the person don't really love you, or maybe they don't even love themselves, maybe they're not used to real love. They would rather just be in something that people are using them than them actually being real love. We like to be used because we are conditioned to being used. We're conditioned to being manipulated. We're conditioned to being lied to. One of the ladies today said, sorry, it's the sickness going around here. Yeah. But it's a lady, she said today, we have been conditioned to be lied to. We have been lied to about everything, our whole life, our education, the way life should work, basically, like the work, the die, you know, spending most of our lives working and not doing what we really want to do. We're being lied to about our God. We are being conditioned to be lied to. And for some reason, we think the people that are lying to us care about us, and they don't. They have showed us through the years that they don't care about us. But yet we still choose to believe their lies. We and it's because it's what we used to, right? It's what we used to. So we just go with it. We don't know anything different. And when we do experience something different, it scares us, right? That we want to go back to what we used to. I felt that way last week. I'm like, God got me in a place of healing, and all I could think is I want to go back to the situation I was in before he brought me here, because it felt like it was easier. It felt like I had more freedom. But that's what the enemy wants you to believe. He wants you to believe that it's easier and that you have more freedom in the lies, because the lies keep you trapped. When really the ultimate freedom is what God is trying to give you, and that's through his way, which gives you possession, gives you land. That's the ultimate freedom, ownership. When you own something, nobody can take it away. See, we giving up our ownership every day because we feel like it's easier to just let somebody else deal with all that extra stuff, right? Somebody said it to me today. They said it's easier to work for somebody than to own something for yourself because you don't have to deal with the paperwork. You don't have to deal with the finding the, keeping up with all the receipts. You ain't got to deal with the, overhead expenses. It's easier to be a slave than to have ownership because it's more responsibility and everybody is running from responsibility. And that's why everybody run away from truth, because the truth make you responsible. We don't want to talk about that, right? We don't want to talk about being responsible for the truth. It hurts. It hurts to say the trauma that I experienced in my life is my fault. It's my fault because I chose those people. God was literally telling me, no, 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 no. You can feel it inside when God is telling you no. Don't choose that person. You can feel it. But because you like that person so bad, you ignore all the red flags and be like, okay. Because the thought of being alone by yourself forever is scary. Nobody wants to be alone. So we settle. We settle for stuff that we know we really don't want. We really shouldn't accept because the uncertainty of, will I get something better, But because we take that chance of not waiting, sometimes we end up messing up what God actually wanted to give us because we couldn't be patient and wait. Waiting is hard, I tell you. God got me on the waiting game right now, and I'm just sitting here itching like, I'm so tired of waiting. I'm so tired of waiting. I'm so tired of waiting. Who else tired of waiting? Because I keep saying that I'm tired of waiting. But I have seen firsthand, I have experienced firsthand that my impatientness ruining things, making things harder, costing me more than if I just waited. That's how you know you healing, right? That's how you know you get more mature. Because now you sitting there like actually weighing out your options, right? You're like, yeah, I'm lonely, right? Yeah, it's tough doing things by myself, right? But then you're looking at this other person and you're like, will that other person bring me any benefit, right? Will that person cost me more than if I, just keep thugging it out by myself than, if I take this chance with them? I'm telling you, all these experiences I've been through, that's how I be like, I'm so lonely, right? I'm so tired of being alone. I've been alone all my life. Feel like I've been in relationships, but even in those relationships, I still felt alone. I know I ain't the only one. I know I'm not the only one that been in a relationship and still felt alone. I've been feeling alone all my life. Like I never really just had that, that space filled. Like, yeah, I got this person here, but they make me feel more alone than when I'm not in a relationship. So why am I in this relationship? And I don't want to feel that no more. I know I'm off subject because we supposed to be talking about protection, right? But this is part of it. This is part of protection, is actually sitting here, you know, taking a moment and really thinking before making a decision. Taking responsibility. Because that's what you do when you're free. That's what these CEOs are doing. They weighing out their options before they invest? Are you weighing out your options before you invest, or you just jumping in blindly? Because that's not investing, that's gambling. And I no longer want to gamble with my life. It's all about investing now. So are you taking the time to make sure you're making the correct investment, or are you just out here gambling? It's a difference. Some people might say it's not a difference, but it's a difference. It's a difference between investing and gambling. See, now I'm trying to make sure I'm making the right investments. I'm writing stuff down. I'm trying to see, will this add any benefits to my life? Taking responsibility. And because I'm taking responsibility, I'm protecting myself. God is helping me protect myself through knowledge, through wisdom. That pain, I tell you, there's nothing, no better wisdom, no better, knowledge that you would get. It's, through pain. Pain help you learn, okay? You gonna be like, I am never doing it again because I don't like how that feel, right? I'm never gonna do that again. Because sometimes when we don't feel pain, we keep doing it over, right? That's just like, a spoiled rich kid that their parents never really made them be responsible for their actions. They never had to really suffer the consequences. Every time they got in trouble, their parent got them off, right? So they kept what? Getting into trouble. But then when their parent was like, no more, you get into trouble again, you go feel it, right? And then they do it again, thinking their parent is just bluffing, and then they feel it. They really feel that consequence, and then they like, oh, shit. This is no joke. I'm never going to do this again. See, God is that parent. For so long, He was protecting us with a garden. The garden was protection. Sometimes we get so complacent, we get so comfortable that we just feel like God is just going to always be there, that we take for granted His protection. I tell you, having God's protection alone is everything. Like, if God never gave me anything else, protection is everything. Because when you got God's protection, nobody can touch you. Nobody. 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 And, if you don't take anything from this Bible study, learn how to keep God's protection. But if you can do that, if you can learn how to keep God's protection, you pretty much got the rest of it. But I'm not gonna talk y'all ears off, y'all. I've been rambling today. This this fight like a girl, it got me fired up. It got me fired up. Cause us women, we're not taught to protect ourselves. We're taught to find a man to protect us. But what if you don't have one to protect you? Or what if the one you want to protect you is hurting you? And you never learned how to fight for yourself. You never learned how to stand up for yourself. That's me. I never learned how to fight for myself. I never learned how to stand up for myself. So now I'm going through this journey of learning how to fight. I'm learning how to stand up for myself. And I tell you, it is the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. It is. And the way God is teaching me how to fight for myself is by fighting for Him, fighting to help Him get His truth. Because His people is being lied to for profit. And He like, why would they do that, right? I tell you, money will make people sell their soul. They do it every day. So they will teach you a lie in order to keep you a slave. Because if you're learning the lie, God is not going to protect you. He going to curse you because you learning a lie and you practicing a lie. While they know the truth. And so they're not being cursed because they know the truth and they doing opposite of what they teaching you. So they getting blessed and you getting cursed. And all you're trying to do is the right thing. So I want to help as many as people as I can that will listen. Because there's too many good people out here getting hurt, being cursed, being destroyed because they learning a lie. And I just want you to know the truth. And I hope that you are willing and open, okay? Because in order for God to help you, you have to be open. You can't have a closed mind. You can't be an in a box person. If you're that type of person, it's not gonna work. God needs you to be open, hear the truth, and then you don't have to just believe me off the bat. I don't want you to just believe me off the bat, but I'm gonna tell you what God told me. I'm gonna show you what God showed me, and then you take that information and you build your relationship with God, and you find out if that's the truth. Okay? Because I don't want you to be blindly following me either. Don't be blindly following me. Because I might make a mistake. But I want you to hear what God has told me. I want you to see what God showed me. So you can see where I'm coming from. Okay? And you can make sure, because you don't want to wait to the last minute. You want to make sure now you're doing everything right by God. And all you got to do is ask Him. I'm telling you, ever since God gave me this information and I talked to Him, He talked back quick. Okay? And that's because I had something blocking. I had something interfering with our relationship. So when I got that out of the way, it was a better connection. I was able to hear Him clearer. So I want to help you get that interference out the way so you can hear your Father clearer, so you can know who you're talking to. Okay? Because you got to know who you're talking to. He ain't the only one out here. He'll tell you that himself. It's in the Bible. If you read in the Bible, you know He ain't the only one out here. David told us in Psalms, He's not the only one out here, okay? There's so many demons out here. There's so many Satans. It's not just one. It's multiple. He calls all those fallen angels Satans. Okay? And there was a lot of them that fell from heaven, like 2,000. It was a lot of them. So that's a lot of Satans. Okay? So Satan is not just one being. It's a lot of them. Okay? He called all the fallen Satans. Okay? So there's a lot of beings out here, plus they children. You got the fallen, plus they seed. Okay? Because when God killed the giants, He killed their flesh, but He couldn't kill their souls because they have beings. Okay? So you have the fallen and their children, their offspring, out here doing evil, whispering in people's ears, playing mind games, convincing you to sin against your Father and to get out of His protection. Okay? So you got to know who you're talking to. I almost lost train of thought. But you got to know who you're talking to. And I'm here to help you learn who you're talking to. Learn how to keep your protection. Learn how to get your inheritance, okay? Because I love you. And I know how it feels to be lied to and to be led astray. And I just want you to have the truth, okay? I want you to have that choice, okay? Some of us don't get a choice. It's kind of like whatever we're handed, okay? So I'm trying to give you a choice. Here's your choice, okay? Haran, he had a choice and he didn't make it. I'm trying to give you a choice so you don't, just end up somewhere that you shouldn't be, okay? It's either you go choose what's right or you go choose what's wrong. But you go have that choice, all right? I love you, family, and Whew, we go get into the nitty gritty. We go get into this deepness, okay? Because we gotta seek. That's why God tell us to seek Him, because He know people been messing with His truth. So you gotta actually go out there and seek Him and make sure you got all of Him right. All right, I love you, family.